Having been an avid gamer for about the last 25 years, it's quite actually insane how far things have come. From unboxing that first game console to your first high-end gaming monitor, or that new game that just makes you say wow. And well, today we have a monitor like this one that can connect 2 game consoles, a laptop, and a gaming PC all at once. And well, for myself, my first real gaming setup was on a 720p RCA TV back in like 2008, where I'd be up till midnight playing World at War COD Zombies with my buddies. And today it sort of comes full circle since I'm actually checking out this 240Hz gaming monitor from RCA and their new RCA Evolution lineup. What made me really want to check this out though is actually the spec sheet. I simply wasn't expecting everything this monitor has for $429. And if you are familiar with RCA, they've been making TVs and tech for the last like 100 years, so finally having a gaming monitor lineup is a huge win for us gamers. I always say more competition the better. Now for a monitor to tick all the boxes, I really needed to have more than just a couple things. First, it's got to be good at gaming. Obviously, high refresh, low response time, and all those fun features. And second, it's got to be well made, feature rich, and it's got to look good in my space. So getting into this one to set up, I've got my DisplayPort cable, the power lead, as well as the power brick. And not that it really matters like at all, but the power brick actually looks pretty cool. And of course, you've also got the stand, which does come in 2 parts. Now for getting this one into my setup, I'm definitely going to be throwing it up on a monitor arm, but not everybody does, so I still want to check out the stand. Now it does come in 2 parts like most, and goes together with the 3 included screws. The stand itself does clip on super easily, but it also has a quick release if you do need to remove it. Once set up though, the stand is about 11 inches or 30 centimeters in depth, and also has a slot for cable management. The stand fully covers pretty much all adjustments you'd need from height, and even a full 90-degree rotation. When it comes down to my setups, I don't ever have a second monitor in just about any of them, but if I did, I would probably have my second monitor 90 degrees like this. For myself though, I did throw this up on a monitor arm like I mentioned. I just prefer the clean look, the cable management, and the adjustments available. Plus, I'm always a fan of having desk shelves, which always looks better with a monitor arm. In my setup though, as a whole, I have a whole lot of things I need to connect pretty much all the time since I typically have a triple setup for PC gaming, console gaming, and whatever laptop for productivity. On this monitor though, for ports, there's actually something for everything that I have. We have the single display port for my gaming PC, 2 HDMIs, which one will go to my PS5 and the other to my Nintendo Switch. You have the 2 USB-A ports, which will work for the KVM. I'll be swapping this between my Type-C laptop and my gaming PC. And each of these ports will be for my headset and mouse. Now that Type-C port also gives 90 watts of power delivery, so just about any laptop will charge while in use. And lastly, there is the auxiliary port, which you can use for a headset as well, but for myself, I have these beautiful Kanto U4 speakers, which when hooked up sound absolutely amazing. And those same speakers will hook up to all 4 of my systems. So for ports, you're definitely well connected for just about anything you might need. And I did mention I love my desk shelves. This one is the Walnut from GroveMade, which paired with the monitor looks incredible. When it comes down to the monitor itself though, the overall design is good both front end and back end. From the front end though, it doesn't have any sort of gamer aesthetic, which is actually how I've always preferred my tech. On the back end, this is where it starts to shine and show that little bit of gamer aesthetic, especially since it does have built-in RGB. It's not the brightest RGB ever, but you will see it dimly in a dark room. As well, the bezels are thin on this monitor, and overall it's built pretty well. Now, apart from the ports, what really makes this monitor special is the gaming capability and spec sheet. What you've got is a 27-inch 2560 by 1440p resolution at a whopping 240 Hz, alongside a 1 millisecond response time. And while I don't measure this sort of thing, this does have HDR10 support, with 95% of DCI-P3 coverage. When it comes down to the panel itself, this is an IPS panel, so you'll definitely have better viewing angles compared to say a VA panel. And from a gaming standpoint, this also has AMD FreeSync as well as NVIDIA G-Sync support. Coming down to gaming though, this is where the monitor really shines, and I can say it's actually pretty badass. And off the bat, I can say it looks great while gaming, and it lends incredibly well with competitive gaming, especially with the 240Hz refresh rate at 1 millisecond response time. I took a bit of a break from competitive Overwatch for a while, but I'm back to grinding my way up the ranks. I'm actually back to placing Masters 3 currently, and soon to be back in Grandmasters, hopefully. In my experience, there's been zero ghosting or tearing thanks to NVIDIA G-Sync, and this monitor pairs really well with my super tired RTX 2070. And I've talked about my love for 1440p in the past, mainly since older rigs like mine can still hold up super well with monitors like this, and I seriously think 1440p is still the sweet spot. And still, my PC pulls high frames on display, all while looking great. And it's not just competitive games either. Jumping into console gaming on my PlayStation 5, while I can only push up to 120Hz refresh rate, everything here still looks incredible. hopping into the newly released Spider-Man 2 is likely the peak of console gaming graphics and fidelity. And to me, it's still wild that games look this good on the new generation of consoles. And like I mentioned, while I don't measure or calibrate my displays at all, the HDR experience here is noticeable in-game and really just looks good all around. And also hopping into first-person shooters like Call of Duty is a good time, despite being absolutely awful at it. Still, you can throw up a crosshair or FPS counter if you do need it, which might help someone like me suck a little bit less. In this clip specifically, I've officially peaked. I think I should probably uninstall after this. Outside of FPSs though, I've had the chance to play other games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Grand Theft Auto 5 on here, GTA 5 honestly because it's a damn good game despite it being pretty old at this point. And of course, Baldur's Gate 3 still has me hooked on my second playthrough. Even with Spider-Man 2 being out, I still find myself playing Baldur's Gate a little bit more frequently. You cannot quit Baldur's Gate 3, trust me. But I'd love to know what you guys would be playing on here, just let me know down below. But outside of gaming, I really do want to give a fat shout out to the media and productivity capability of this monitor, especially since it has that built-in KVM. Pretty much between my gaming PC and whatever else is hooked up to the Type-C port, I can swap all my peripherals between them. In this case, I have my mouse and headset. My keyboard itself is Bluetooth, so I actually just swapped this one manually. Still, since my laptop gets 90 watts of power, it never needs a charge when docked. And this is what allows me to have that one cable setup everybody wants. And I've actually edited this entire video on this monitor with my MacBook Pro. For any media as well, this performs great when it comes down to colors and overall look, although there are profiles built into the monitor you can swap around and customize. And apart from that, there is a matte coating on here that will help reduce reflections, which definitely does the job without glazing out the display entirely. Now, coming in at 429 bucks, nothing's perfect, and I think it's kind of hard to find something to improve because that would really jack up the price. But if I were to choose anything, I'd probably start with the RGB lighting, since I didn't find a way to customize this and it's rather dim. Outside of that, I could have done with a less aggressive power saving mode. Whenever there's no signal, it immediately goes into power saving mode before I have a chance to swap it to another input, so I usually have to have my PC on to swap my inputs. Overall though, I don't think I've seen a better 240Hz monitor at this lower price point, especially with this feature set. It's not the least expensive 240Hz out there, but it's definitely packed when it comes to features, and it could be the best monitor for anybody with multiple machines like myself. But for the price that it is, this is an incredible monitor, especially compared to the OLED counterparts, which cost almost double. For all it's worth though, I can definitely recommend this one, and I'm happy to have checked it out. I appreciate you guys watching till the end. Till next time.